What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Z-Man Show. What would a franchise about a blue talking hedgehog and all of his colorful friends be without horrible, vile hatred toward everyone in its fandom community? Well, it'd be a pretty boring place to be. No, it's not just the Sonic fandom that deals with that, it's everything. As the saying goes, you want to ruin something? Add people to it. And the Sonic community is never ever a stranger to things being blown way out of proportion and anger and hatred and vitriol being thrown everywhere. Well, now we've got something new on our plates. Actually, it's not really new, it's just blowing up again. That's right, today we are talking about Amy Rose. The new big-ish stink in the Sonic community right now is Amy's characterization. Now you might ask yourself, why is it so important that Pink Sonic is characterized in a certain way? Why are people getting so up in arms about it? What is that? Why do you have a black hair there? Shadow! She's not even the main character! Is it because people have nothing better to do than to argue about something that's so insignificant? Or maybe it's because Amy has had a very significant impact on the franchise as a whole and on a lot of Sonic fans. And some of those people feel like they're losing what made her special. Is that true? Have we completely lost what Amy has been this whole time? Is she developing into a brand new character? Or are they deleting her past? Come with me and let's find out what's happening to Amy Rose. The issue that people are having right now is the differences between 2000s Amy and current Amy. Characterizations have varied a lot over the years with Sonic, and Amy is no stranger to that. 2000s Amy seemed way more energetic, with a much more bubbly personality, quick to anger, and absolutely in love with Sonic. It's the Amy a lot of us grew up with, the Amy that I grew up with. And even as an 8-year-old boy who thought, oh, I don't really care about the girl character, all I care about is Sonic, I remember still wanting her around and liking her in the games and enjoying her in the cutscenes, all of it. And that's just my perspective. I remember playing Sonic Adventure 2 Battle on GameCube with my younger sisters back in the day, and thinking, of course you're gonna choose Amy just because she's a girl and you're a girl, of course you're gonna choose her. Of course I was 10 years old, so of course I think that way. But looking at it now, having that extra option for a female character, a fun female character, for a little girl that likes Sonic but also would like to play as a girl, I can only imagine that it adds to the fulfillment of playing the game, or your immersion into the franchise and the stories and the fandom and whatnot. I might not have worded that correctly or done that justice, but I think you know what I mean. Amy acted big and bombastic and was always a big presence when she was on screen. And that's what we loved about her. But let's look at how Amy is portrayed now. It's been getting slowly more and more obvious, but lately Amy has been much more subdued. Outside of IDW for the most part, Amy's not quite as energetic, definitely not as bubbly, and her love/infatuation with Sonic has been toned down by a lot. Now, all on their own, are those bad things? Not necessarily, but when you think about it, doesn't that kind of take away what Amy is? If you've watched any of my videos, I've had a lot of problems with characterization, voices, and many other things in the Sonic series since 2010. So Amy was just part of that whole mess for me. So the way her character has been changing isn't something I was really latching onto and really observing. I knew it was happening, I saw what was happening, but just like everything else, like the voices and the characterization and direction and whatnot, I just thought, well, that's just how it is, that's what people want, and I'm just gonna have to get used to it or not. At first, honestly, I didn't mind Amy's newer characterization, even in Frontiers. All of the characters to me felt like they were maturing, getting older, getting deeper. At least that's how it felt like it was presented. So I thought, all right, I'm not the biggest fan of it. I kind of like old Amy more, but it is what it is. But while the story and writing was more mature than what we've been getting for the last 10 years or so, the characters weren't aging, and they apparently weren't maturing in any narrative sense. It was just for that game. We could see that in newer projects like Dream Team and the Sonic Racing Crossworlds tidbits that we're getting. They're still just the same characters. It's just in Frontiers they were acting more somber, if you could say that. But still, Amy's personality is a lot different than what we started with. But in my head, I was thinking, oh, okay, so they just want her to be more of a mature, older person, right? That's what they're trying to get across. Okay, but that's when I started really paying attention to the counter arguments. While I don't respond to every little thing, I am reading a lot in the Sonic community, especially on Twitter. So I'm not going to name any names, not going to cause any drama, not going to cause attention to drama. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. I've seen a lot of different opinions, and I like seeing different perspectives perspectives and forming and letting it even change my own opinions on what I see in the Sonic franchise. Something that started changing my mind about the maturity factor is saying that Amy's becoming more mature is just trying to get rid of the personality that she had before for a more acceptable version of her, the mature version of her. And that was really interesting to me. When I think of a more mature version of the character, I don't immediately think of it as a negative connotation. But in that context, I kind of see it. Do I think that's what the writers are going for? Probably not, but some people might be taking it that way. Especially in Frontiers, Amy was definitely toned down from what she was in the 2000s, and even toned down from what she had been in the early 2010s. It seems like they're trying to do a little bit of a better job lately, with the most recent being her interaction with Sonic in Sonic Racing Crossworlds. I see where people are coming from. If you've been to the channel, you know the early 2000s are my jams. That was where I started, that was where I grew up, and that's where my mind stays. But I still obviously love consuming every bit of Sonic content that still comes out. So while of course I think my favorite Amy is the early 2000s Amy, she's still one of my favorite characters even going forward. I'm glad I'm getting these new perspectives on how her new personality might be trying to erase what she used to be under the guise of maturing and development. And again, while I don't think that's what Sega is trying to do exactly, it's also plausible that it is. I would love to see Amy become more of her old self, or even a combination of how she is now and what she was like before. The IDW comics have been doing pretty well in my opinion. I'm sure somebody else might disagree on that, but I think she has some really good moments in it. But one of the biggest problems about this whole thing is, it's okay to like any version of Amy. I've liked Amy as a character since the beginning. I'm gonna still like Amy going forward. And you can too. Whether you dislike the current one or dislike the old one, that's okay. The problem starts when you think the version that you like is the only one that anyone can like. When you start treating people badly because they like something and you don't, that's when it becomes an issue. You're the issue. We've been seeing that a lot lately, and it's annoying and stupid. When you disagree with somebody's opinion, put yourself in their shoes. They're another person. They're having their own perspective on you, and they're disagreeing with your opinion. It's crazy that we can all have different backgrounds and different experiences that make us form our own thoughts. And when you treat somebody like shit, just because you don't like what they like, you become a piece of shit. When somebody has a different opinion about how a pink hedgehog talks, don't get defensive, don't get angry, don't insult them. See why they think the way they think. Hell, have a nice discussion about what your favorite parts of Amy are, or what their favorite parts are, why they're their favorite parts. You don't have to agree, you don't have to change your opinion, you don't have to change your stance, but you might have a new perspective on why other people think the way they do. It's amazing. Except for Sonic Forces fans, they're all wrong. So to summarize, what is happening to Amy Rose? Honestly, I don't know. It almost feels like they go back and forth with how they write her. Are they really trying to erase who she used to be? I couldn't tell you. I think that's at a corporate level. But personally, I hope not. Like I said, I prefer 2000s Amy, but I still like Amy as a character even today and how she's written. Just remember, whether you love Amy's current character or you don't, that's okay. It's your opinion. Just remember, it's your opinion, not everyone else's. What does the future hold for Amy's character? I'm not sure. I hope it's good. But no matter what they do, have no fear.
Amy Rose is here.
I got up my map and chose someplace I wanted to go. Packed up my stuff, set out for adventure. I know that you're lucky, 'cause